Welcome. Today's topic is 3 P's and the top 2, which is what? It's a simple approach to achieving goals that often seem elusive. This is nominally intended for songwriters in terms of examples, but it's completely universal to all who are listening. We're looking at questions like, how do I succeed? Is there a blueprint for success? So let me offer up a few answers in a form that we all understand, a story. We'll call this 3 P's and the top 2. Back in 2007, I happened to be glancing at a local paper that was running a story about an indie filmmaker in the area who was looking for some music for his current movie. He mentioned he would like a song like a certain Cat Stevens song. That song happened to be in the first book of music I bought way back when. After a great deal of rewriting to make the director happy, even down to the single word level, I had a song in a movie. The director thought he had all the music covered and hadn't really planned on another song when I first contacted him. However, my subtle but tenacious use of our first P convinced him to find a place for my song. So our first P is persistence. Be it getting one song you believe in pitched and placed, or staying the course in what follows, it's the habit of persistent follow-up and marching towards goals that leads to success. Yes, there are overnight YouTube wonders, but only the ones with persistence to follow up will still be around in a year. Back to my indie filmmaker. I stayed in touch and 2 years later wrote another song that he used in his next movie, and 2 years later followed the iterative process of making him happy, and guess what? A song he really loved in his next movie. Due to conflicts, I didn't get involved in the follow-up, but guess what? I've co-written a song for his current project that's in post-production. We played the first round of edits for him on that song over a year ago, last Christmas Eve, after helping him shovel out his driveway and driving him and his wife to the studio for a listen. So I guess you could say one must be persistent in your persistence. Now you might be persistently and doggedly following a path that leads absolutely nowhere without the next P. This P is to have a plan. It's easy to slide through another day without any clear direction. I find I get out of those days what I put into them, not a lot. And maybe that day's plan actually is downtime. That's cool and in fact necessary. I actually kind of have an internalized plan for taking care of the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional sides of life. Balance is important. Still, you may have heard me relate how I try to do at least one intentional thing to advance my music each day. If I'm 80% successful with that plan, call that a low B in the world of grades, I did over 290 things in the course of a year. As Adam Sandler might say, not too shabby. Our final P is one that must be there. Passion. You really have to want it, and it's what's coursing through your veins. It's something you see in the people at the top of any field. Just think of your favorite artists. I've met a couple of songwriters, one in LA, one in Nashville, who at this point would be considered fantastically successful. However, before they broke through, one was actually living on cat food, and the other used to buy 40 of the 35-cent Tuesday special McDonald's hamburgers and live on them for a week. That's some passion. As for me, people say I play from the heart. However you look at it, our craft demands we put our inner selves out there and lay it on the line. Music needs to flow from the core and be what you are. Here's a quote. Nothing great in the world has been accomplished without passion. That was from Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, who lived from 1770 to 1831. So passion's not a new concept now, is it? That covers our 3 P's: persistence, planning, and passion. The top 2 was an idea I came up with some years ago when my eldest daughter was struggling to prioritize the time and demands of college. Of course, standard advice starts by saying to make a detailed list of everything needed and then prioritize it into category 1, 2, and 3 items. The problem is that too many things all end up priority 1, and then what? Everything can't all be high priority. So my idea was to make 2 things the first things you work on to the exclusion of everything else. It's okay to still have the big list, but until the top 2 are dealt with, all the other stuff is mentally filed away. And the reality is, on any given day, it's not too overwhelming to come up with the top 2 things demanding your attention. The virtue of this is a certain peace in knowing you've focused on a couple of important things and actually getting them done. The fallacy in multitasking is that it leads to a bunch of stuff being in various stages of incompletion, and you're feeling like you haven't accomplished anything. Oops, I'm back now after answering an important text and updating Twitter. Well, multitasking, A couple months ago, I read a study about how your brain works that not only confirmed what I'm talking about, but also said your brain can't really deal with more than 2 things going on at a time. Hooray, another one of my ideas proven by science. Now, I'm the first to admit my shortcomings in following my own advice. Some days I feel like I have 1/4 P and the top 20 that are mocking me. Now, we all have those days, so don't dwell on them. Aim for 3 P's and a top 2, and you'll get through way more than you might believe possible. I hope this helps you on your journey to musical and other success.